Hi all, right back with more enemy action. Ardennes playing the Allied solo. This is my take two, and now we moved on to the 18th, so this will be the 18th part one. Um, and yeah, just again the following day from finishing that the 17th there, so getting a little bit of time to do a little bit. So we'll see how we get on. Right, so where do we start? The reserve phase. Take allied units from calendar space for the current day and place them in the reserve units box. Remember, the German units don't get removed. So what if we all go up there? Yeah, we've got a load, haven't we? So that's a day mark. I'll take that out of the way. Yeah, we've got these guys. So it's the 82nd Division. These are the airborne, aren't they? There's four of them, and then there's four. Oh yeah, we didn't see the other. We didn't see that bad event that was going to delay some of these, so that's good. And then you've got the 30th division as well. I don't know if you're seeing all this or not. I'm stretching over here. So there's only three of the 30th ones. They're not airborne. Alright, it's 101st is the other ones, isn't it? Oh, they're coming in as well, though, aren't they? Yeah, of course. So we've got the airborne, we've got the 30th. Yeah, you can just see that. And then we've also got the 101st, there's four of them. And we've also got two armoured units from the 10th Armoured. They're strategic actually, the 101st Airborne. And the Germans only get this one, the Führer Brigade unit. But remember, that just stays up there on the calendar for now. So they come down. Just see if I think you could see them, but right. So there's 7 units from the 18th, 4 from the 8th Corps, and 2 from the 12th Corps. The 2 armoured units. And then you may, because we're on the 18th now, and let's just actually, before I continue with that, where is the, yeah, it's on the inside page of the back cover, isn't it? Shows you a copy of the calendar. We'll just bring that up. Right? Yeah, so inside the back cover. Am I right in saying that Kharkov didn't have this, and I think it was something I might just be making that up. It's on the very inside cover, and also on the back page you've got the sequence of play, and you've got that. But of course the calendar up there just gets clogged up with units. I do want to say that maybe Kharkov had missed out on this. I might be wrong though. Maybe. So 18th. So all that text in red. Well, we can see that the fixed artillery range is going up to 4. It was 3 the day before. The Allied supplemental cards are going to go up to 6 from 5. The Allied hand size stays the same at 5. And then we've got these extra rules coming in. So you've got delayed reserves, which I was just about to talk about. German detachment relief. Replacing detachments with German infantry reserves. Generating German detachments. Okay. Quite sure what that one is. And then VP loss for Allied occupied West Wall. Yeah, so if you occupy a West Wall hex, I think we need to be able to trace supply as well, and then we can get knock some of their VPs away. What I say, they've not gained a VP for a while, but we held on to Veil Sam there. Rather fortunately, I think. That was a good combat for us. Anyway, so they're the new rules, so I need to keep these in mind. Right, sorry, just going to go over these again. So I know what delayed reserves are. German detachment relief is within one of the movement methods. Replacing detachment with German infantry reserves, that's when, yeah, you look at the reserves, that's before you go into combat, I think. There's an extra step that you would check for putting your reserves in detachments. I think it's before the combat check. Generating German detachment 15.5. I'm going to have a look at that in a second. And then the VP loss. So that's the one I'm a little unsure. I need to just check up on. Here it is. Here it's on page 63. During step 1 of each day's supply phase, beginning December 18th, detachment markers in German occupied towns may generate new detachments. I thought we'd been doing that already. Had we not been... Don't tell me I've messed that up and I was doing that. Well, certainly nobody's mentioned it to me. No, maybe... You know what it is? I think I've not watched any for a while, but I was watching my previous playthrough of this, and I think maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Because surely somebody would have brought it up to me that this didn't start until the 18th, if I'd been doing it already. Okay, that's fine then. And there's a rule regarding the victory point losses on page 64. Allied unit on West Wall hex from the 18th, starting with the December 18th turn, subtract 5 victory points for each West Wall hex from which Allied supply can be traced that is occupied by an Allied unit. That's not easy to do, really. I remember my previous playthrough, I don't think any of that happened. I mean, you've got to be able to trace supply as well, which is the tricky part. And the Germans have restrictions to stop Allied supply traceable to these hexes, so it's unlikely to have that and have an Allied unit in the actual hex. But anyway, it is there. Maybe later in the turn, later in the days in the game, it becomes more doable. But right, back to where we were in the reserve phase. Yeah, so one of the new bits comes in from the 18th. You may deploy the map any Allied units in the reserve unit spots with a printed entry date 2 days earlier than the current date. So they would just come in now, you would be able to deploy them. But these are all dated the 18th. So if they happen to be sitting there on the 20th at this phase in the turn game, we would be able to deploy them. But, well, we kind of want to get them all on the map if we can. Right, what's next? If the conditions for releasing the German OKW are met, place the reserve units German reserve unit spots. I want to say that needs to be a unit adjacent to the Muse, I think. It's 9.8. If at least one German unit is in a hex adjacent to or across from the Muse River. Yeah, that's not happening yet. Okay, so card prep, using Allied command card display, prepare the Allied draw pair for the day and draw your initial hand as follows. So yeah, I'm having to remind myself about all these things. I know it's not terribly complicated. So place Allied reinforcement cards scheduled to come in. So you can see the first army card here's going to come in on the 18th. This card's coming in. It's just day 2. So divisions for the 30th. I'm not sure the 75th are in yet, but that brings the option of the 30th. And then the first army card. So these are both supplemental. So they're going to go in the draw pile primary or face down in the available supplementals. So they go face down in there. Then we shuffle the availables. So shuffle these up a bit. And I wanted to say that went up to 6, didn't it? So available supplementals for the 18th is 6. Hand size is still 5. So shuffle available, draw the number indicating the calendar date. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. I've drawn 6, they go back there. They're the 6 that I drew, they go in the draw pile. These supplemental discards go in the available for the next day, or possibly available. Just checking they're all supplemental, which they are. They go in there. And then we get the primaries, which are all primary, there's 4 of them. And well, they just go in the draw pile as well. And then we shuffle all of this up. So there's 10 cards there. Shuffle the draw pile, draw a number of cards for your initial hand, so it's 5 cards. Yeah, it's a good shuffle. I'll draw 5, 3, 4, 5. And that's left of the draw pile. Right, I won't look at our cards just yet. That's a 5 cards. Prepare the German draw pile. Yeah, no, we don't look at reinforcement cards. And basically just shuffle all this up. So I'll do that off camera. That's German drop out, and then it starts on the 19th of February initiative, so that's not going to happen. Right, so we're in the supply phase now. From the 18th, we're going to generate German detachments. So conduct a detachment generation check for each German detachment marker and German occupied town on the map. Also place detachment markers on west wall hold value hexes to which Allied and German supply can be traced. 15.4. Yeah, these are never my favourite parts. The whole detachment bit. I mean, I understand it's a necessity. It must be. They've obviously realised that there's something needed to come into place to protect things for the Germans, but it's not the most fun part of the game, I feel. Maybe that's just me. So hang on a second. Right, yeah, that threw me there, but so generate German detachments, it references at 15.4, it's actually 15.5. That's what I was just reading about. So during step 1 of each day's supply phase, detachment markers German occupied towns may generate new detachments, and new detachments may be placed in empty west wall hold value hexes if both German and Allied supply can be traced. All detachment markers exert zone of controls when tracing Allied supply for this purpose. Right. So, method for checking. Check every detachment marker and German occupied town one at a time, beginning with the easternmost. Northernmost if tied, which is the way I check it. I've been checking the other way, when you're removing them as well, which I think matters as well, but well, it does, because they all exert zone of control at this time, and at that time when you're removing them. If both German and Allied supply can be traced to the detachment marker or a German occupied town, place a new detachment marker in one unoccupied hold value hex within 2 hexes of the existing marker and not adjacent to an Allied unit. German Allied supply must be traceable to the placement position. Then, after checking all detachment markers in German occupied towns, place a detachment marker in every unoccupied west wall hex with a hold value to which both German and Allied supply can be traced. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to read on this. There's quite a lot involved in this, so and I'm not trying to teach things here really. So let's just try and work out how we do that. So we check it. We're checking every detachment marker and German occupied town. Right, from east northernmost if it's a tie. Right. So not west walls at the moment. We're going to get to the west walls. So we've got, that's a west wall. West wall. That says there's not that many detachments there, is there then? So that's maybe not so bad. Right, so I think, right, hang on. Check every detachment marker and German occupied town. So, hold on, yeah. So we are still checking these. It's just we're going to check, afterwards we're going to check these, like west wall hexes that have got hold value, haven't we? Yeah. Check every... Hang on, mate, till I get this right. Yeah, okay, that is right. So I do check the detachments with a hold value. What I'm going to do is I'll leave the time ones. I'll just take these away just now, just so I don't miss them. Right, that's gone. I better pick that up. Right, and there's a couple of unoccupied towns, but I've got detachments in them. I'm not going to put the markers on them because, yeah. Anyway, so this is the first one to check, and it needs though. It only matters if both German and Allied supply can be traced to it. Then we're going to place a new detachment marker within 2 hexes of it. Well, German supply is clearly traceable to that. Allied supply is not. And remember, detachments exert zone of control while we're checking this. So no, no. Again, just really looking for Allied supply traceable to these, because German supply is going to be. It needs to have them both. Yeah. So no, it's unlikely any of these are going to be able to. No, because I've been taking. I mean, I took ones away. In fact, is that not the last step? You take them away if both. Yeah, they get taken away if Allied supply and German supply needs to be traceable to them, or they get taken away at the end of the phase, don't they? Is that not the last step? 15.3, yeah, it's page before. During the end of the day phase, if either Allied or German supply cannot be traced. Oh, no, hang on, that's different now, Grant. The problem is these are west wall hexes. That's why these are not went away. Yeah. Right, okay. So it is different. Because when you take them away, it's if either Allied or German supply cannot be traced to the detachment, then you would remove it. Whereas this one, or is that the same? I can't quite work that out. I'm just gonna carry on. Right, Allied supply is not traceable, not traceable, not traceable, not traceable to that. The next one down is here. Allied supply is not traceable. That's not on a road, so no. Now hold on, Grant. Hold on. Yeah. Remember, it's occupied towns as well. So, no, that's Allied units. But Germans have got control of this town, whatever it is, Boingen. But, yeah. So, I mean, if it's an occupied town, surely Allied supply is going to be traceable to that, isn't it? Yeah, it is. To determine if Allied supply is traceable to a German detachment, town hex or west wall hex, imagine an Allied unit in the hex instead of the German unit or detachment. If the hypothetical Allied unit could trace supply, Allied supply is considered traceable to the hex. Likewise, German supply can be traced to a given hex if a hypothetical German unit in that hex would be able to trace supply. This test should be used in all cases of tracing Allied or German supply. Yeah, so Germans control that town, and Allied supply is traceable to that. Like you see, you have to imagine an Allied unit in there, and then say, can it trace supply? Well, it can trace into there, and it's friendly unit. I know it's in German zone of control, but into a friendly unit it's fine, and then it's on a supply road. So that one is a legitimate target for this. So I have to what about to do? A hold value hex within 2 hexes, not adjacent to an Allied unit, and then German and Allied supply must be traceable to that position. This is a pain, isn't it? So is there one within 2 hexes? I mean, that Allied supply is not going to be traceable to that. Neither that. That one's within 2, but it's adjacent to an Allied unit, so it doesn't count. That one's not either. That would be adjacent to an Allied unit. More than one, place and work on the whole value hex. Yeah, but I don't think there's a target for this. Because Allied and German supply needs to be traceable once you place it. That's not going to be the case there. And there is adjacent to an Allied unit. There is adjacent to an Allied unit. That's all the whole value hexes within 2 of that. So I'm going to say that there's not one can be placed there. No. Okay. So yeah, I've got to watch for towns that are occupied though as well. So I checked this one. That was the last one I checked when I realised I need to check the towns as well. Don't think. Oh yeah, there's a town here, isn't there? Yeah. What's that? Vianden. Anyway, there's a town here. So, would that be the next one to check? I think it would be, yeah. So, as there a hex within 2, that would be adjacent to an allied unit, so that's not any good. Anything else within 2, well, that's within 2, might be a target actually. This one, is allied supply traceable to that? No. And that's adjacent to an allied unit. This hex here, however, looks like it might be a candidate. Because my guess would be, well, actually, maybe allied supply is not traceable to that. Because remember, we can't come across here to trace supply, can we? No, it's not going to be, is it? 1, 2. It needs to be able to reach this road here and come down through R1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is just short, and it can't go up here because the Germans have control of the roads up here. So actually, that's not an option. Maybe there's not one for there as well then. I don't think there is. 1, 2, no, let's say allied supply is not traceable there. That's adjacent to an allied unit. It does say not adjacent to an allied unit, doesn't it? Where did it say? Yeah. Place a new detachment marker on one unoccupied hold value hex within 2 hexes of the existing marker or town and not adjacent to an allied unit. Okay. Yeah, because once, if there's a detachment there and that unit activates, the detachment just goes away again. Right, so there's nothing within 2 of that either that I can see. Okay, so let's carry on. Next one could be this. Yeah, next one's that. Actually, that is allied supply traceable to that. It will be, won't it? Yeah, it can go 1 and then 2 into Malmedy, and then it can trace up the road. Remember, that's not exerting zone of control. And German supply is traceable. So yes. So yeah, I feel like this could be. Now that's 2 away but adjacent to an allied unit. That's 2 away, not adjacent to an allied unit. And is a hold value. So is that. I suppose so is that, isn't it? That's the 3 options that we have that are 2 away from that detachment that are empty. Allied supply won't be traceable to this one though, will it? No, let's take that one away. Allied supply traceable to that, yes. German supply traceable to that, yes. No. Actually, maybe not. Because I can't trace into there, because it's not a friendly German unit, and that's an allied zone of control. We can't, these bridges are still all allied controlled, so we can't get a trace there, so is this bridge controlled, so you can only trace into that hex or that hex. Yeah, because going the other way is not going to get them anywhere, is it? No. So, and then going into there is not on a road. That's the only road he's going on. No, that's not. We're not able to trace German supply to that hex. Interestingly. Okay, and then finally this one, is Allied Supply traceable to that? No, it's surrounded and there's no friendly unit adjacent, so that's a no as well. Right, so we're not finding any in here. I'm just looking, there's no other occupied towns. There's a couple of unoccupied towns there that have got detachments on them. I'm assuming they're safe. Obviously, Allied Supply is not traceable to them, or they wouldn't have been left alone. So, and it looks like it. It looks like everything's fine. The only other town I think they've got is Bastogne. That's the only other occupied town. So, but there's a detachment before that. So we checked that one. So this one to check, and then Bastogne, and then I think that's it regarding these. So, is Allied Supply traceable to this? You would think so. Is German Supply? Yes, there is. So, can we find the hex within 2? There's one there. Not adjacent to an Allied unit. There's one there. Oops, spilled my coffee there. There's one there. Right, there's one there as well, but Allied Supply is not going to be traceable to that. Unlikely traceable to that as well. Remember, this detachment is exerting a zone of control into this hex. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that one's no good either, I don't think. However, these two, these look like they might be. Allied Supply 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and then easily that one. So is German Supply traceable to that? Yes. Actually, again, you're saying yes, Grant. Wow, I think it's all right this time because we can go 1, 2 onto that road there. In fact, 1, 2, 3, and then we're on a road that's fine. This one here, well, actually, you just need to trace on that road, and then you can go up into that hex and then back down again. So both these are okay for Allied Supply and German Supply. Now, this is adjacent to a detachment. Does that matter? Not adjacent to an Allied unit. That's the only restriction there. So if there's more than one whole value hex, place a marker on the whole value hex closest to the nearer of the south, north or south map edge borders. That could be a bit even actually. Hang on. Yeah, what do you know? This is 12 away from the south. This is 12 away from the north. If multiple whole value hexes are equidistant from the near map edge, then in the highest whole value hex, that's a 2, that's a 4, that's Hooflays. So yeah, I think that means they're going to gain, I think they gain control of the town as well with this, don't they? So that's where it wants to put a new detachment. If no hexes meet requirements, does not generate a generated detachment may be placed in an unoccupied Allied town. Doing so makes the town German. There you go. So they cheekily get to gain control of Hooflays as well. And now there's still, obviously this bridge will still be Allied controlled. So you need to remember that. So that's where that goes, and I'll just obviously mark the detachment because it's a town with a little cube. Right, and then finally, well, on this step anyway, Bastogne. Right, so within 2, I suppose that's possible. That's adjacent to an Allied unit. 2, 1, 2 here, but oh no, you know what? Allied Supply is traceable to that, I think. So you've got that, and then that, and in fact 2 more, right? Yeah. They're all within 2. And yeah, because Allied Supply can be traced 1, 2, 3 onto this road, and then this is the one that goes down to R1. So Allied Supply traceable to that, and that easily. German Supply, yes, yes, yes. 1, 2, yes. All of them. This one, Allied Supply traceable, yes. And German Supply, yeah, they're all available. So these two are closer to this map edge. So that means that these three are not going to apply. That was right, isn't it? If more than one whole value hex is eligible, place the marker on the whole value hex closest to the nearer of the north or south map edge. And then if there's multiples, you pick the highest number. That's a 1, that's a 2. So that goes away. And we get a new detachment in here. And these obviously don't generate new ones. In fact, you should put them in like that just so you don't get yourself confused. But there's not that many just now, is there? Right, okay. Then we've got to look at the west walls, I think. So we're looking for... Then if after checking all detachment markers and German occupied towns, place a detachment marker in every unoccupied west wall hex with a hold value to which both German and Allied supply can be traced. Yeah, I don't... Well, actually, that's not got a hold value. I was going to say that one up. That one right there might be in both Allied and German supply, but it's not got a hold value. That one. I mean, it's obviously empty, isn't it? Unoccupied west wall hex, yeah. So this doesn't have a hold value. This one does. These 3, 4 here do. German supply is clearly traceable on them all, but Allied supply is not. To either one of them, no. Yeah, I think we're just skipping on by this, aren't we? There's another one. German supply traceable, but not Allied. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay, let's move on. It's maybe not too bad, and that's the first time I've done it for a while, and could probably get through that a bit quicker. I mean, we only generated 2, didn't we? I think, in total, maybe 3. Right, now we check the units for supply. Germans don't start until the 19th. Right, so it's just Allied units we're checking for supply. Okay, so quickly, okay. 2, 3, 4, okay. Now these might be struggling now, aren't they? 1, 2. Oh no, I think they're okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they're okay, actually. Okay. 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 I'll just come from top to bottom. These are clearly all okay. Now, the guy in the Sam's not. These are the things that you need to try and do is get friendly units adjacent. So he's going to go low supply. Yeah. This guy's okay. There's nothing wrong in the middle. Down the bottom here, these still get off the... Yeah, because they've not took Konsdorf yet. It's Konsdorf that then shuts off these roads, I think, doesn't it? But Germans haven't taken that yet, so we can still trace off these roads here. So he's fine, they're fine. This one in Beaufort traces into there, and fine. And this guy is not surrounded yet, he's fine. He can go 1, 2, or 1, 2 even. That's fine. So just the guy in Deal Sam, I believe. Hopefully. Yeah, that one was okay, wasn't it? I mean, I can trace into there, friendly unit. Trace into there, that's 2. 3. And then I have to come back down onto that road there, 4, which is fine. No, there's no zone of control there. That's the core objective marker. And then it's away. Yeah, okay, good. Right. Adjust supply status. Right, I'll put low supply on that unit. Nobody else to be concerned about. Allied air interdiction. You may play an air power command event from your hand. Well, let's just quickly look and see if I've got one. no event there. Right, we do have one there. However, it's from the 19th. We're on the 18th. So it's not any good. No event there. Raise alarm there. That's 16th to 17th anyway. So no event there. And yeah, air power in there, but not till the 22nd. So we got two air power cards, but they're not applicable on this date. Yeah, I'm just glancing at my hand. Like, I suppose we want this could deploy all of them. Or is that the? No, it's not. It's 101st. Yeah, it's 101st. Yeah, I could deploy them, that card, and then we've got this to activate them afterwards. Right. Okay. Good. Right. We've no air power that works, so we can't do that. So I think now we're in the command phase. Right. I'm at 35 minutes, so I'm going to take a break there. Hopefully come back, and I'll get maybe one German impulse in. Hopefully get it in before I have to end this part. Right, I think that's okay. Right, I'm just going to go and pause. I hopefully will get back today to finish this bit, but I will just be joined on at the end of this, so I'll be back when I'm back. Okay, cheers. Hi all. Right, back to continue this. Well, this is the 18th, just part 1, isn't it? Right, so we've done I've got a wee cube marking my sequence of play here. I'm on to the command phase. So we're going to have a German impulse, aren't we? Yeah, right. And the new things that came in to remember about, I think, are more about, we got delayed reserves. No, we've done all that. German detachment relief. Yeah, I don't think there's anything huge in there that's I've got to keep my eye out for. Just some of a lot of the detachment stuff, really. Okay, let's do a German impulse, and then hopefully I can get this part finished. So everything's shuffled up. Yeah, I think we're okay. Yeah, let's go for it. Right. What we get? 7th Army card and 1st SS Division card. So the 7th Army card is going to be first, isn't it? No primary card, but that comes first. There's no event. It's got reinforced battles and combat tactics. So 7th Army, well, they're not the strongest ones, are they? These are the ones down here, aren't they? So maybe not that bad. Top 2 cards, primary. Okay. Just go to the bit that you used to grab. Right, we've got the cards. There's no event, so we're going to activate this. This is going to be the first German impulse. So the first action is going to be activate the 7th Army unit, where the most non-bracket 7th Army units within 2 hexes and all those units. Activate reserve units in same division. That's the one that's the same core, isn't it? Activate reserve units in the same core as active units. Use artillery tactic with all attacks. Right, there is one reserve unit. This one from the 80 core. So he might get involved. The other ones are in there from the 5th Panzer Army. Right, so non-bracketed. No, activate the 7th Army unit with the most non-bracketed 7th Army units within 2 hexes. And all those units. Just wondering there if the target hex could be a bracketed unit. Activate the 7th Army unit with the most non-bracketed. Well, the way I've been doing it is I've been targeting and then counting that unit as well as all the other ones. So this wouldn't count as wasn't one of the numbers because it's bracketed, isn't it? Okay. Well, I think it's just what's in there, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so let me have a wee think. I think it's going to be that one, isn't it? That's going to be 5. Because it's going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Whereas that is only 1, 2, 3, 4. And then going up here, let's say the target there, that's 1, 2, there's only one unit in there, 3, I mean, we're not counting this because it's bracketed. Yeah, so I believe it is going to be... It's going to be that one there, which is going to activate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So activate 7th Army unit, and all those units. Activate reserve units in the same corps as active units. So any reserve units that were from the 80 or the 85th Corps would be active as well, and we have one from the 80th, so he's going to be active too. And I'll just leave that cube. So actually it's going to be very similar to the last impulse we just done, which I can remember sort of freshly because it was just last night that I'd done it. It was just the 80 core units. So there's maybe not going to be an awful lot done. We done a check at the attack determination, rolled the dice high and didn't get an attack. So it could well be that it's not an awful lot going to happen. So anyway, they took core. This full core and this one unit is active. So there's no roadblocks. And then the objective marker, well, there's a 7th Army objective marker first, and it's not within 2 of a German unit, and it's not proximate to a German unit, so it stays there. Now this is also needing to be checked, but again, it was just checked the last time. There's an allied unit within 3 of it, so it stays where it is. Okay, now we're going to move these units. Now remember, this has got a core. These have got a core objective, but this one unit does not have a core objective. So it alone is going to be checked first. Is that right? So 9.23. Units with a core objective marker move according to these rules specific to them instead of the methods. Actually, no. I think we check these first, don't we? Check German units with a core objective marker one at a time in ascending numerical order before checking any units moving via their normal movement methods. Yeah, so in actual fact, we're going to move the 80 core units first. Well, Grant, they didn't move the last time. So assuming we got that right, none of them are going to move. Because nothing's changed. I don't believe. So no, none of them are going to move. So now we need to just check there's one unit with the normal movement methods. Right, let me quickly look through and see what one I think he might do. Right, I think he might move the movement method 11 closer to his army objective, because he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away there. And certainly you can go into this hex here by 1, 2 breaking zone of control, 3, 4, 5, it's back into the woods. And then he's 1, 2, 3, 4 away from his objective. He's vacating a west wall hex, which is fine. It's not going to be an allied supply. Because remember, this unit's not on the road. If this unit was on a road, then that maybe wouldn't happen, because then allied supply would maybe be traceable to that west wall hex, isn't it? Is there any other hex you could get to? I don't think so. 1, 2, I don't know, 3 to move into there, which isn't getting closer. It's not as if you can come further around. I think it's just here. Now, yeah. Because there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away as well, and he would adjust back to an empty hex. This is going to still be an empty hex. It's still going to be across river, adjacent. You know, when he finishes checking 9.24, he's still going to be in the same position in an empty hex and still across river. But that does get him 1 hex closer. So I think he'll do that. And we don't need to bother about 3. Well, the 3-1 advantage, like it was pointed out to me, I can't remember who made a comment about that. I mean, I understand how it works, but I think it might have been that Phil was talking about it. Might have been, I can't remember. But I mean, you only need to check the 3-1 if there's more than one option. But here, it doesn't matter. This is the only hex that's getting closer, so there's not a case it needing to be adjacent to an allied unit looking at 3-1 advantages or not. I don't think I can go anywhere else getting closer. Okay, so I think that detachment's going to come away as he's going to move into there. So 1, 2 breaking zone of control, 3, 4, 5 back in there. Like I say, all it's doing is getting him one closer, and that's just coming away. One closer to his army objective. Move to a hex closer to the unit's army objective. And if there was more than one, that's when you look into the 3 to 1, adjacent to an allied unit, blah blah blah. But I don't think there was more than one. No. Okay. Going with that. Right, so we can move on to attack determination then. Now, there's no assault coordination. There is a reinforced battle, which actually might get looked at. Well, yeah, it's only going to come in if we do this. Right, so remember we've got this unit in the reserves. So we check in ascending order. This is selector number 1. So we already looked at this before, and it's coming across river, but this guy's going to help this time. And also the reserve to consider. So it'd be a strength of 5, 6, 7, and then on R2, again, that's all going to be coming across river. In fact, he's probably going to go in this empty hex here, isn't he? Because nothing can... Oh. Don't tell me. Well... I don't think it mattered. I'm just thinking, I could have put that guy there, couldn't I? I think I maybe thought he can't trace... Remember, it's reserved supply he's got to be able to trace. So that's not any good, because this is an allied bridge. These are all allied bridges. And there's an allied unit down there. Well, we've not got a bridge there anyway. So... And that's, if I'm talking about placing this reserve, I can't trace across there because that's not reserve supply. Remember, it's got to be free of ally zone of control. Doesn't matter if there's a German unit there. However, this hex here, oh, hang on, that bridge is down. Well, that one's not though. He could have traced supply into there, reserve supply, and been fine. Onto that road, up across that bridge and away. So the last time we checked, this guy, attack determination there, hopefully not. But I counted that as 5 plus 2 coming across the river. So 7 cut in half is 3. 3 against 3, but 3 against 4 because he's in a forest we don't check. It's less than 1 to 1, no check. However, if the unit went there, it would have been 5. Cut in half is 2. It would have been 4 against 4. So it would have been a die roll, wouldn't it? That's silly, Grant. It's a difficult one to do, but I always feel like I should check these. But the thing is, we're moved on to the next day now. So if I roll the dice, well, hang on, let's see if the odds are going to be 1 to 1 because it would be 2 plus 2.5 rounded down 2. So it'd be 4 to 3 plus 1 for being in the forest. 4 to 4, 1 to 1 odds. Well, modifiers, none of them are elite. It's not the 16th. It wasn't an army group card. I'm talking about this last turn. I mean, this time it is, but... And there was no support card. No, because it was the very last card of their deck that we'd done this check. So it'd be 1 to 1. Right, let's just look at this. So it would have been 1 to 1 with no modifiers. So you can see that cancel a less than 2 to 1, cancel a less than 1.5 to 1. So a die roll of 1 would be cancel if only defender elite or only defender armor. Oh no, I think we would have got away with it. Because that's the only... Right, hang on. Yeah. Because all of them would have cancelled. A roll with 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 and 2 would have been all less than 1 to 1. Oh, sorry. it would have been above 1-1. So the only die roll would be a 1. Cancel if only defender weight or only defender armor. So if we had rolled a 1, which is the lowest we could have rolled, because no modifiers, remember, then it would have been 1-1. The unit would have been there, and it would have been this guy here and here. So cancel if only defender elite or only defender armor. Oh no, it would have worked, wouldn't it? Because they're both armored. If this had been infantry, I would have got away with it. I'm going to go and look back on the video footage there, because I'm annoyed that I missed that reserve could have been placed there. Let's just double check that reserve could have been placed there. Include all active German reserve units could legally be placed in hexes adjacent to the defending stack, and from which reserve supply can be traced. Does it show you, does it give you a include all active German reserves that could legally be placed? Does it not tell you in the actual attack, Grant? It tells you in the attack, doesn't it? Right, hang on. Add active German reserves, right, 12.21 it is. Adding active reserve units to a German attack. Any number of active units. Place the reserve unit if at the moment of the check a hex meets all of the following requirements. We're talking about this hex here. The hex is adjacent to the hex under attack. Yes. German reserve supply can be traced to the hex. 13.3. So I double check it. You don't need to just double check that, Grant. You know what it is. It's the same as supply, but more restrictive. Reserve supply is traced like regular supply with added restriction that it may not be traced through a hex in an allied zone of control, even if occupied by a German unit. So I could still have, whereas I couldn't have traced it from there to there, because that's got a zone of control in there, and that's a friendly unit. Normal supply I could, reserve supply I couldn't. I could go from there to there though, and then that's me going across an unbridged river. No allied zone of control in that hex, and then we stay on that road across that German bridge, well, through that German town, across that German bridge, and then away. So that hex was valid. So, and then the third requirement is placement of the unit in the hex would not cause an overstacking situation. If more than one hex meets all these requirements, place the unit in a hex causing the defender to be surrounded, that's the hex it would go. You know? I mean, when it was over here, it didn't have the strength to do the attack because it was half across the river, but I mean, it could have went there. Right, I'm going to go and double check the video because nothing's moved here though, Grant. Right, I'm just going to roll the dice. Ooh, if I roll a 1, it's all going to be a mess. Let's put that guy up there. So I believe that we're sitting at, with that reserve, it takes it to 1-1 odds. So the only die roll is, and with no modifiers, the only die roll is a 1. Please don't let me roll a 1. Right, and I won't be I won't be messing about here. This is a roll, okay? Okay, we got away with it. 4. That, I don't know what we'd have done, but well, I guess the cards are all shuffled up. I could probably just randomly draw a card out the deck and shuffle that back in, but messy. Okay, so 4 was cancel for less than 2-1 or only defender armor. Well, it was less than 2. It was going to be less than 2-1. We can forget about that. Right, let's get back to this turn now. So, but the same thing can happen here. So when we're looking at this check, we've got 5, 7 coming across the river. 7.5, there's 3.5, so 3. But plus this 2 can go in here again. Right, so that reserve. So 3 plus the 2 is 5, so it's 5 to 3. But plus 1 for the forest, 5 to 4. So it's 5 to 4. I don't think that's 1.5 to 1, is it? I think it needs to be 6 to 4. Right, so as a modifier, there is a modifier this time. Attackers include elites, no. However, this is activated by an army or army group card. So there's a -1 to this. And support card shows applicable combat tactic. Yeah, it does. This could reinforce the battle by just moving into there. In fact, yeah, no, we're not going to get none across there, but he could reinforce the battle by moving it there. So there's actually a -2 to this die roll. So a -2, 5 to 4. Hang on. Yeah, 5 to 4 is 1 1/4 to 1. It's not 1 1/2 to 1. So I think the only result here might be a 1 again, but remember we've got a -2 to this time. That's 5, 6, 7, half, 3 1/2, 3, and then R2, the reserve units on R2, so it's 5 to 4, yeah. Okay, so here we go, with a -2. Ooh, a bit thumpy, but it's not cocked, it's fine. There's a 5. 5 -2 is 3. So a 3 is cancel less than 1 1/2 to 1 or attacking from 1 hex. Well, it is less than 1 1/2 to 1. So we're not doing that one either. Right. Okay. But we need to remember that was rather silly, Grant. Okay, so right, but now we so that was that one checked. Now, selector number 5 would be next. Now, selector number 8, well, this has already been checked, so he's not going to be able to do anything else. So 5, so we're going to do a check on this. So that's 2, and R2 coming across the river. Did I count that in there the last time? Surely I would have put that guy. I mean, he can't trace reserve supply from there, or there, but he could trace it from there, or there. And this one's across river, so surely that's where I was going to put him. So the reserve, it's going to be. Oh, he's not across the river either, Grant. Duh. Right, so it's only this 2 coming across the river. So it's 2, 4. And then 1 for this coming across the river is 5, but 2 for the reserve, so it's 7. 7 against 3, so it's 2 to 1. And yeah, it was 2 to 1 odds, wasn't it? And we rolled a 10, I think, the last time. So 2 to 1 odds. However, we are going to have that -2. Well, are we? Can this reinforce the battle? Yeah, it can go in there. It can go in there, so that can reinforce the battle. So there is a -2. Remember, 1 for the army card, 1 for the support card combat tactic. So 2 to 1 odds with a -2. Right, this is more doable this time. Unless it's a high roll, of course. Right, thumpy again, but it comes out the cup, eh? Right, that's a 10, so I'm doubting that that's going to make it, is it? 10, -2 is 8, cancel of less than 3 to 1. Yeah, that was more likely to have happened as well, but obviously with a high roll like that. I mean, even an 8 would have made that a go, actually. 8 -2 is 6, cancel of less than 2 to 1. Or defender in town. Nah, no, I wouldn't have. I would have cancelled that because he's in a town. We do need it to be less than that. Right, anyway, it's not happening. Well, that's it. That's only 2 combat checks. And, well, that's it. It's a whole lot of nothing again, isn't it? Right, well, actually, we're on the next step now, which is, from the 18th, place eligible active reserve units on German detachment markers. Infantry is eligible starting December the 18th. Mech units starting December the 21st. Ah, right, well, that's a mech unit. So that's not going to happen either. Thought that was something that might have happened. Then we would conduct attacks. Interesting that you check the reserve for the attack determination, but then the reserve could get placed in a detachment marker and maybe then not be. Jason, does that work? No. Oh, have I skipped a step there? Oh, I have. Yeah, sorry, I have. Step 4 of German unit activations is to check the reserve. Then step 5 is to conduct the attack. But when it says conduct the attack, you've got to check 9.5 first, which is to determine if they're going to attack. And then that's when you would, add the reserve units to the attack. Okay, I've got that bit back to front. Right, well, we can't place that on a detachment because it's only infantry at the moment. We've checked for the attacks, nothing doing. We remove eligible active units to the reserves. Well, this one moved. These didn't move, but they're not stacked to anything, so they can't go back. We're not on the 20th yet. To place IPs and then remove disperse markers. So nothing doing. All that happened was that guy moved 1. That was that. I mean the 7th Army card isn't. Yeah, that's the impulse over. I mean, it is going to now bring this across, and we're going to have another impulse with that. But I better not push it my time and just leave it at that, I think, for this first part. Yeah, I think that's probably best. Yeah, I think I just uploaded that part today though, where we done this. So that was a mistake. No, that hex there it was, Grant. That was a mistake not considering that hex. So, interesting to see if somebody maybe noticed that and maybe make a comment. I'll not say anything about it because I'm mentioning it now. We did do the die roll for it because there wasn't a die roll previously, and kind of got away with it. If it had been a 1, it would have been a bit of a disaster. But anyway, right. I'll get away for now. I think that's probably almost an hour again, but another part done at least. And yeah, who knows? Maybe I can. I mean, work's not the best at the moment as well, though. So the little bits of time I'm having, it's in between work as well. So, but I'll be back when I'm back. Okay, cheers.